Welcome to the Gearwire.com Crosstalk podcast for Friday, August 18th. I'm your host, Mike Payne, and I'm joined by Drew Cragg.
Hi, Mom.
Paris Hilton.
Hi, guys!
And Dan Augusto.
What's up?
All right, exciting stuff this week. First off, Ableton Live 6 is coming out next month, and we're going to take a look at that. Also, we've got 3 in-studio demos this week. First, we're going to take a look at GControl, which is a free matrix control system similar to the Chaos Pad 3 that we reviewed recently. This is free software usable on a touchscreen or regular screens with a mouse, and we've got that behind us right there, and we're going to take a look at that in a little bit. Second, we've got another in-studio demo, a virtual analog synth shootout. We'll be comparing the MOTU MX4 against the discoDSP Discovery synth.
Discos? I love discos. Where's Baby Love?
In your anyway, number 3, we've got another in-studio demo, a theme and variations this week, the Uni-vibe. Enough software, let's get our hands on some gear. So we're going to be taking a look at the Electro Harmonix Wiggler, the Dunlop Uni-vibe, and the Boss RT20. So we'll be taking a look at those with the fabulous Drew Cragg on guitar.
All right!
On the Gibson Black Beauty. Look at that beautiful piece. Look at that. Just wonderful. So anyway, first up, we've got the some reminders before we get started. Any comments, questions, suggestions, anything like that you have for us in the panel, anything you want us to talk about, anything you don't want us to talk about, any hate mail, anything like that, we love it all. So please send it to us at crosstalk@gearwire.com. Next, we've got the Gearwire Forums are growing fast. Visit our forums at forums.gearwire.com. We also have a special forum now for the Crosstalk podcast itself. Anything you want to discuss and what we've discussed there, you can do that live on the forums.
It's at the bottom of the page.
And yes, at the bottom of the page, and the address of that is forums.gearwire.com/gearwire-crosstalk. So come check us out there, please. We'll be there. First up, we got some big news this week. Ableton Live 6 is coming. It's scheduled to come out next month. What's new with Live? There's quite a bit. Live continues to prove itself into a full-scale DAW. First, Live 6 includes new racks for instruments and effects. This is similar to Reason's Combinator. Live racks allow the user to combine different instruments and effects and control them at the top level. Also, Live 6 updates their meters with much more readable and accurate displays, as well as extended plus 0 headroom. Also, in version 6, Live is making available an optional sampler with the familiar Live human feel and a super intuitive interface. Quite a lot of control and deep functionality there. Last, Live 6 includes some new effects like a tape saturator and tube emulation, which we know will impress our own Paris Hilton. All right, so what do you guys think about Live 6? Have you guys had a chance to sink into that at all?
I'm very excited myself.
Hold on, I gotta go puke in the bathroom. I'll be right back. All right,
of course, we have to start off with negative comments from Paris Hilton.
Paris Hilton.
Drew, what do you think?
Well, I'm excited. The biggest thing I'm excited about is dual core. I've been using Live for about 2 years now, and we got a dual processor, but it's always been not completely compatible with our computer. So, I mean, I've never really maxed out Live yet.
Sure.
Because we have a really powerful computer. Okay. But we've always had that other processing unit that's just sitting there. And now that it's going dual core, I'm really excited to see what I can do. You could basically, no holds barred there. I mean, you could just go all out. I don't see any limitations there.
That's great.
And I'm also real excited about the interface. The meters, of course, are going to help out a lot. Previously, I wasn't a big fan of really just the way the meters looked. It just looked kind of unprofessional. There weren't very many deep decibel readings on there or anything like that. And the other thing I'm really excited about, I could talk about it for a long time, but the 3 main things would be the scoring option. Being able to work film inside the program itself is really, really, really appealing to me.
Sure.
Because I do a lot of film scoring and stuff like that. And it's a perfect program because it's kind of a loop-based recording at first, and then you can get into the sequencing part of it, and that's what really, for scoring, that's beautiful. That's perfect. It just makes it a lot easier. You could just loop, until your next scene. Makes our job a little bit easier,
Right.
And of course, they're coming through. Like I said, the interface looks great, and the samplers are looking great with the filters on them. I mean, it's classic Live. They're tweaking it out. I'm really excited about it.
Right.
I love that program, so I got nothing bad to say about it.
Have any of you guys used the Combinator in Reason?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I like that. I like that they're but cool thing about this is that it's open to VST plugs and other plugs. You can basically
Exactly.
design it yourself instead of just importing Reason instruments. So that's going to be cool to play with. It's
Absolutely.
kind of like the core system,
yeah.
but software. So yeah, it's an exciting product.
I can't wait to get my hands on that part of it too. To compare it to the Combinator, obviously, having the VST option is huge.
Right.
But being able to patch it up right and everything, if you want to combine two instruments or if you want to patch them to each other in a certain way, I'm curious to mess around with that and see how it compares to the Combinator, because I like being able to hit tab, look at the back of the rack, and literally patch it through. That's a big selling point on the Combinator's point. So hopefully, I'm sure that they took care of competing with that. In
absolutely.
some form. So I'm excited.
Yeah, cool. What do you guys think?
I basically think they're catching up. Well, I mean, Ableton, a lot of people like it. It's a great program, and it has options that a lot of other DAWs or looping type composition tools didn't have. And now they're pretty much adding things that other programs already have, like the racks, better metering. So they're playing catch up in some respects. What I think is interesting is how every single DAW is sort of coming from like whatever they used to be like, and then everything's becoming everything else. Sort of like Pro Tools is getting way more into the loop-based composition,
Right, and MIDI,
things like that. Yeah. A lot of MIDI now. Like every DAW I can think of, except for Pro Tools, has a way of basically saving a certain set of instruments. Logic has like the Apple loops, the green Apple loops. Sonar has track groups that you can save, and Reason has Combinator.
Right.
And you can always add something on like that, like Pluggo or Core. They can always do that, but it's nice to see that they're having something like that, which is there native in the DAW and comes with it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Paris?
I was thinking about buying clothes. I mean, it's cool that they're doing. I think the film scoring thing's a little cheesy. I mean, like, because knowing film scores, they wouldn't touch stuff with a 3-yard pole.
Wouldn't touch Ableton?
No, they don't really use it. I mean, like when they're doing films, like Avid systems and stuff like that are pretty all inclusive towards Pro Tools.
Well,
I mean, on like a student film basis, I could maybe see something like that, but not on a real.
Well, I use Sonar on like a independent basis, scoring to film, and it works great. It exports to QuickTime.
Like I said, I just can't see like anybody.
I think a lot of film scores will use a program like Ableton or Fruity Loops to make their song. Like they'll break up their tempo by watching. Get their tempo by watching the movie, and then go into one of those loop composing programs like Fruity Loops, Ableton, Project 5, and make their beats there and bring it in and sync it up in either Pro Tools or Logic or something that already has that. And now Ableton is pretty much the first like looping program that actually brings in the movie aspect, although you can do it in a lot of other programs. So.
Yeah, this is news to me. I've never talked to anybody who utilizes.
Maybe not at the highest level, but the thing is in the last few years, VJing has been a lot more popular, and there's a lot more multimedia involvement, and something and the people like Drew who do film scoring,
and the internet.
There is. People are going to use it.
Oh no, it's definitely going to utilize. But
is some pro going to stop using Avid and start using Live? No. But the thing is this is an option to people.
Like to see that,
to people like myself, to people like Drew who do film scoring and VJs, stuff like that, or people that want a full multimedia experience and want to do it in one system, and that's where Live is pretty sweet for doing that.
No, I give it credit there. I think like. Of course, I have my qualms with tube emulation and things like that, but outside of it, it's. I mean, like, there's nothing really wrong with it. It is playing catch up. I would like to see them like get way more intuitive with just the way they deal with loops and bit crushing and stuff like that, and maybe routing within that whole idea. And I think it's something they're probably working on right now. But because the brilliant premise of Ableton was real time looping. Like you could drop something in there and just like there, it's already beat matched. Like some internal routing with that about like change ups and like sequence information change, like just a little more like maybe live oriented. You know what I mean? Like when you're playing live from your laptop and just being able to maybe seamlessly switch between certain situations would be a lot cooler maybe than the film scoring thing, which I didn't think. I was like, well, maybe they
sort of like something like the Newmark VJ thing.
Yeah, exactly. Like where it's like this is way more geared towards VJing and way more geared towards this live information instead of like going, oh, I can do film scoring.
I could definitely see that being cool, bringing together the whole music thing, live performance program, and live performance video mixing. I could see that being really cool in the future.
Well, moving along, let's start up our first in-studio review this week. A couple weeks ago, we talked about the Chaos Pad 3 and the new Matrix-style control system that it had. Also, that same week, we looked at something that we'd like to take a closer look at now, which is the GControl. And GControl is a Matrix controller system designed for touchscreens. Also, anyone with a monitor and a mouse, like ourselves, can use it. It's free software. It's great for drum sequencing on the fly. It gives a new world of control to your PC. This sends out MIDI out of your computer, which we'll be doing to the Motif ES6 right now. And without further ado, let's take a look at that.
Okay, I'm Mike Payne now, and I'm going to be showing you this GControl.
Mike Payne, you are a good-looking man. You know that?
Mike Payne, you such a sucker. I'm going to kill
Not as good looking as you.
Shut up, Mike.
I'm going to shank you with a knife for calling me Paris Hilton.
All right. Sorry,
Cracker.
Sorry, Paris.
Big mistake.
Okay.
I will kill you.
So this is the GControl. It's a free, basically just sequenced arpeggiator or drum sequencer. It comes set up for general MIDI drums. As you can see, you got your acoustic bass drum, a different type of bass drum. It's basically just mapped out to the kit as it would be on your synthesizer in any of the drum kit patches. If we look at the top over here, we see that there's actually 4 layers. You can look at all of them. The first one I have here is I just basically made a little sequence right here. And if we play it, it'll play the first layer first and then sequence through each of them. We're at 138 right now. See, now it's on the second layer, third layer, and fourth layer. So what I need to do is go in here and continue making...
Move your second kick back a little bit.
Second kick back?
Yeah. Right.
Like there?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. So yeah, it's quick on the fly, and I can have this playing the whole time while I'm doing this. And as you can see, there's 3 levels. So the highest velocity level is orange, and after that you have sort of a darker orange and then very dark orange, or a very light orange. And it's kind of hard to see, I think, but I mean, you can get used to it. So there's our second layer, third layer. And fourth layer.
While you're doing this, Dan, while you're doing this, Mike, does this have, is this a sampler as well?
No, this is purely a MIDI controller.
Okay.
Dan, I thought you'd know that.
So you could,
yeah, Dan, you're such a freaking genius.
You could send this MIDI signal to something like battery.
Anything.
Okay.
The thing about it is it's a separate app. It's an EXE. It only runs on PC, by the way. So you'd need some way to route the MIDI internally inside of your computer. I think there are utilities out there that do that. I don't have one. If you're really into MIDI, you can probably find one. But really the use for this is with touch screens. Mm-hmm. And, of course, you can click around. You can see it's a little, it takes a little bit to really get clicking on it. But if you have a touchscreen, you just go right through. So I'm going to go back to the all screen and let's listen to the entire sequence. So we're on the second, third, and fourth. And now if I want to start adding like a hi-hat to all of them, I can just find the hi-hat. too loud, just change it to a lower level. Maybe I want to make the first one a crash. I could change the low tom over here to a crash symbol instead, as you see. So now at the beginning of every sequence or measure, you get a crash symbol. So the great thing about this, I think, is for a live setting. If you bring your laptop to a show and you have some outboard synths, this could be a cool app.
Absolutely.
If you got a touchscreen, you could do some serious damage.
No, yeah. How much would a touchscreen cost? Like a 17-inch touchscreen? Have you guys any idea? I've never.
No idea.
I've seen them advertised for around $300, but I'm pretty sure those
It's
were
reasonable.
hot.
Right.
It's all good. You should run like a bass synthesizer through it.
Bass synthesizer. Okay.
Yeah, I really want to just see how it works as an arpeggiator itself and note value.
Well, yeah, you can change every note value. It'll have the name of whatever like the name of the note is.
Yeah.
So you need to figure out just which note is which. But here, I'll change it to a bass patch.
We
Try that out.
Of course, the pattern we're using is very drum-like, but
Yeah,
Right.
created as a drum patch.
you
But
can get the idea.
just add in some random stuff.
There you go.
Can you move the octave up one?
I don't believe you can do that on here.
Okay.
Let's see. Yep. There's really not a way to do that unless you're doing it on your synth. I don't know of an easy way to do that on here.
See, that's what I'm saying with the perfect. We need to talk.
Yeah, that'd be a cool thing to add. So we'll put the link up for. There's a music thing story on this where this pretty much all started. We'll put that up, and you guys can check it out. If the developer's watching, you've heard our suggestions.
It's
maybe.
mine. It's mine. It's mine.
Definitely. All right. Okay. Well, what do you say we move on to the next?
Absolutely. Next, we're going to take a look at the virtual analog synth shootout. Woohoo! Got the MOTU MX4 and the discoDSP Discovery. Both MOTU and discoDSP were kind enough to send us their plugins to take a look at.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks,
Thank you.
George
we
from
really-
Disco.
Yeah, George from discoDSP and
Yeah, thanks, guys.
I don't know who sent it.
Bob.
Thanks to Motu.
Yeah, thanks to MOTU.
Mr. Motu. All right. So here we
I
have.
think his name is Mark
Really?
Motu.
of the Unicorn.
Dan. You're on today, Dan.
You know?
All right, so I brought the Discovery up in Sonar 5. This is a virtual analog plugin based off the Nord Lead 2. It accepts like all the SysX stuff, so you can get all the patches from your Nord Lead into it, or download them from the Nord site or wherever the archives are kept. So let's take a listen. We got kind of like an analog pad loaded up. So we
Bring
have
on the flock of seagulls.
we have the amplifier over here. Probably the easiest way to change the sound on here right now. So we can change the attack. It's got a nice smooth ramp in for pads, or we can make it more of an attack thing. The filter actually is really, really nice sounding. A little loud.
That's nice, though. I like that.
It's not a cheap sounding filter.
No, not at all.
And one of the great things about this, you can use the mod wheel to move the filter, but you can also set the mod wheel to morph instead. And basically, what that does, if you can sort of get a close up on these knobs over here, I can go into morph mode, and now I'm not moving the knob, but the morph value. And now you can move if you want to move the modulation a little bit, you can hear that, or the modulation wheel. So now you have control over that. You can have control over like the delay level. So we want some delay when we move the mod wheel up.
Probably hear that delay a little better if you cut off the decay.
Yeah.
The release, I mean.
Let's bring that down. It's a short delay. Oh.
All right.
All right, there we go. So now you have the mod wheel up, so we're getting some delay. If you turn the mod wheel down, there we go. Now we can hear that delay real good. All right, so there's that. You can change the
Break
pitch
out the
range.
day glow, kids.
The pitch range can be changed from 2 to 24, so now you can go up 2 octaves if you'd like with the pitch wheel.
Wow, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, there's also an octave shift. The oscillators on here sound really nice. We got a triangle thing going on right now with the oscillator 1, and that's mixed in with some pulse wave form on oscillator 2. Let's hear the triangle, or actually that's a ramp. Let's hear the ramp on its own. Bring off that delay. All right, and you got an FM amount, and we can turn that up. We get out of morph mode. So now we're starting to frequency modulate the ramp with the pulse waveform. We can modulate it with noise. There's the noise.
Sweet.
So
Sounds
Very
nice.
flexible.
makes it a little dirty. You can set it to ring modulation instead if you'd like.
Cool.
Move it to the square wave. And
Very nice.
Also,
Very nice.
another nice feature which is on a lot of analog synths is when you have the pulse wave, you can change the pulse width. And this you can also set to your morph knob, which I think is really cool. So if you want to get that morph knob moving. So now you're not only moving the filter, you're also changing the pulse width.
Seems like a very flexible synth.
Yeah,
Reminds me
definitely
of the
is.
dentist's office. I like cheap little things like the pitch bend animation on there with the wooden stuff like that gets me too. But this sounds amazing. $99 synth.
Yeah,
You really can't beat that for
No,
$99.
I'm
Sounds
impressed.
better than most high,
Definitely.
$200-$300.
Who was that that sent that into us?
it was George from discoDSP.
George, thank you.
You the
Thank
man, George.
Excellent synth.
All right, let's move on to the MX4 from MOTU. You got that set?
Yep.
All right. So it's set to. We have this open in Digital Performer. This is a much weirder, more modern sounding synth. Doesn't really. It's not a reconstruction of any other synth, as the Discovery was for the Nord Lead 2. It has 3 oscillators. Let me just turn that down just a little bit. All right. We got 3 oscillators. Each one has their own separate waveform and symmetry, so you can put them out of phase with each other. Well, actually, I'm kind of changing the pulse width there.
Yeah, this is pretty 90s kind of modern.
Yeah, definitely. And this also has a stereo mode. Let me see if I can find that. There it is. The GUI on this isn't as like a vintage synth, so it's I don't feel as at home with it. It's kind of a bit weirder. So that's one thing about this synth.
Yeah, it looks
It's
like a spaceship.
Yeah, it doesn't look like a synth, whereas the Discovery looks like a panel on a synth.
Yeah.
So it's got a stereo mode, so you can pan each oscillator however you'd like.
Sweet.
And if you're listening to the mono MP3, get on the movie or the stereo MP3. It's got a ring modulator that you can pan separately. Audio input.
Pretty flexible.
Yeah. And 6 LFOs,
It's pretty cool.
Wow.
which is pretty crazy.
That's crazy.
But I still don't like the way it
another
looks,
patch.
though.
What's that?
We try another patch.
Yeah, definitely.
I still don't like the way it looks. I mean, it looks not... It doesn't look so intuitive.
Yeah, it's not all that intuitive.
I guess it doesn't really matter since it's like virtual. I mean, like, so it's not like they have to think about ergonomic design really.
Mm-hmm.
Which is kind of annoying because there is kind of an ergonomics to the way that your brain lays out these things.
It looks a lot like MOTU's other synths, so if you use the other synths that MOTU uses, it kind of makes sense. The LFO section is of particular interest to me. You can change the phase on here. Well, right now, only LFO2, I believe, working. Here, let's try another.
You feel what I'm saying, though, Drew? Like, ergonomics of, like, a layout, like, just mentally, even if it's virtual and you're not actually touching it, still matters a lot.
Absolutely. Like you said, the way you think about it.
Yeah.
I mean,
There we go.
Whoa.
to really, truly understand what it does as opposed to just tweaking knobs.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
So we got LFO5 modulating the envelope. So let's go to the LFO5. It's got a square waveform.
That's a cool sound.
That's nice.
Yeah.
I do like the whole moving the LFOs around in phase with each other.
That's
pretty cool.
Yeah, see, that's kind of messing up the
Make it sound
the
as
sync
fat
a
as
little
thin,
bit,
or
and you
as
can
fat
slow
or as
it
thin
down.
as you want to.
Yeah.
Just tweak it out.
Yeah.
Also got a pulse width on your on your LFO. You can do a sample and hold LFO. And that's just basically messing with the envelope.
This reminds me a lot of Propellerhead's Maelstrom synthesizer.
Oh, okay, yeah.
If
Does have that granular feel to it.
if I want to change the destination of a particular LFO, this is the section to do it in. As you can see, we're looking. It actually has a display of what the LFO is doing. We got a sample and hold LFO right now on LFO 5. And if we take a look at the where it's sent, I'm going to send it to pitch, so it'll be a bit more extreme. Let's see.
It definitely does have that granular. Is that the word, granular?
Yeah.
Yeah, granular feel to it. It actually doesn't really sound that much different as far as like
the actual like oscillator sound,
Yeah.
it's not all that different.
Well, even the overall synthesizer's kind of the same idea. I mean, it's a cool synth overall. It's definitely cool. I like the phase thing.
Mm-hmm. There's also another page, the modulator page. Here you have your access to effects. So now we're just hearing the oscillators.
Sweet.
It's a nice sounding
that's
synth.
nice.
It's
I like
fat.
that.
Yeah, it's fat.
But both of these synths are very fat, which I like. And
Get it, Mike, get it.
You're not going to get that. You're not going to get that with all a lot of free synths. Some free synths sound pretty good. So now we got a gate going on. This is a sequence gate. Let's see if we can turn up the.
Multiple pages. That's a lot.
Yeah,
That
it's a
just
lot to
got
take
sampled, I
in.
have a feeling.
So I'm going to turn off this gate really quick, but it has that, and you can basically, it's sort of just like a sequencer, step sequencer. So now we got it on every note. I'm going to turn that off. And let's see. Pattern sequencer. If you want to throw that on something, control pitch, control ring modulation, and go there.
So it's kind of like a CV sort of thing.
Yeah. And then there's a couple more pages. The file, this is where you would like save stuff.
Oh, don't you tell me.
Maybe we should save this, Pat.
I like we should.
All right.
Someone somewhere out in cyberspace just sampled you, Britain.
Yeah.
What is this, silly crackhead?
So here's the last page. This is really, if you're just into weird noises and things like that, this is where you should go to first.
Okay.
Basically, this is the random page. And here we have a list of things that we can randomize. So we can randomize the oscillators. You can change the pitch or not. I'm going to include the pitch and not constrain it. Or you can constrain it to octaves and unisons and things like that, fourths and fifths. Filters, I'm going to include the FM. I'm going to include the topology. LFOs are going to be randomized. Envelopes are going to be randomized. I'm going to include everything. So this is going to be a complete, it's going to create a completely new patch.
Okay, let's do this.
Awesome.
And every time you hit it, it creates a new patch. Sometimes you get silence because
it's randomly.
Yeah, completely random.
Whoa.
Wow.
So
You are now tuned into the revolution.
Cyber crickets. Oh, that's nice.
this is definitely brings a certain level of fun to the synth.
Well, this is perfect for sound designers who are doing like the weird sci-fi thing, you know?
Yeah, and if you don't have a sound in your head, it's usually better if you have a sound in your head that you want.
Yeah.
But if you don't, this either gives you something really cool or at least something to start off from.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I was messing with this for a while, and I was trying to see if I could get a note on the keyboard to feed that button. I'm sure there's a way you could do it if you're like a hardcore synth programmer. Unfortunately, I'm not that great at MIDI.
Neither am I.
Not yet. And what I wanted to do was have it just every once in a while, if I wanted to, set it to key trigger to
Key trigger? Well,
just no trigger off of it.
Where is the thing? It's an automation thing. You should be able to.
Yeah, you should be able to, and just put it in there.
Yeah.
Of course, we're not that smart. All right, so yeah, that's probably my favorite thing about the synth.
Okay. Well, both those are a lot of fun.
Yeah, those are
two
both
different
good.
kinds of synths, but I like them both. I like some of the moving sounds on that last synth, but the
We didn't
disco
check out the
DSP.
arpeggiator on the discoDSP.
Let's do that.
Throw that on.
Let's do that really quick.
Yeah.
We'll go back to that. Yep.
Just hit
Okay.
that up. Okay. So we got our terrible sound. I'm gonna just give us a little less high end. Right now we got a keyboard tracking. It's a nice little feature there. You can turn that off so that the filter stays in one place. If you turn that on, the filter moves with the note that you're playing to kind of keep things bright as you move up. And you can set that to 3 different degrees. One thing we didn't check out was the distortion, asymmetric distortion, symmetric distortion, and a second form of asymmetric distortion.
That's
I'm gonna turn that
fun.
off because that's a little much. But yeah, let's check out this arpeggiator. So I'm gonna click that.
Come to daddy.
Send it to our oscillators. Turn up the rate. And then here's the amount. So as I turn this up, we're going to start getting different notes. Let's just turn that up and...
I want your soul!
So yeah, that's a lot of fun.
Wow.
Easy there, Paris. That's not all you want.
The demon's coming out of Paris.
You can so yeah, you can sync that up with your host somehow. Seriously making me uncomfortable, Paris.
All right.
And you're clipping the input.
Excellent.
What the hell, man?
Okay.
After you got all your props for not clipping input, now it's all ruined. The one fell
It's over. It's over.
All right. Well, last but certainly not least, we got a Uni-vibe shootout here. You got the Dunlop Uni-vibe, the Electro Harmonix Wiggler, and the Boss RT20. Let's take a listen. Again, we've got the wonderful Drew Cragg on guitar, playing the Gibson Black Beauty.
Alright, so this is going through a pod. This is a Wiggler first.
Is there tube emulation on that?
There's a little bit of tube emulation on this.
You can hear him.
But there are actual tubes in the pedal.
Yes, there is.
There's two 12AX7s, so it sort of is basically recreating
Is this the
what would
Wiggler
be
right
in a
now?
vintage amp. Yeah, this is the Wiggler we're looking at from Electro Harmonix.
That's made in Russia, right?
I believe so.
Actually,
I heard something
New York.
happened to those
New York,
tubes.
yeah.
New York.
Oh, okay.
Oh, actually, we talked to Mike Matthews. It's cool, man.
Right.
I think they only use LEDs. I don't think enough current runs to these tubes.
Yeah, that's the thing with these
Tube pedals?
just any pedals. Preamp tubes don't really light up that much.
No,
and that's what's in here. So, is this pedal on right now?
Yes, it is. But I don't have any of the settings really set going. I'm about
Okay.
to. Hold on.
Go for it. So this is on. There's 4 different settings, and there's no explanation of the difference they're supposed to create in the manual. But what are we in now? We're in AC. ham. If you want to turn up the speed a little bit, this gets really fast, where you can barely hear it. Here, turn up the depth too, and stop playing for a second.
Stop playing?
Yeah, just 1 second. There's like a way you can actually get it to modulate. There we go.
Hmm.
Yeah, but here, like,
Yeah, you're just hearing the LFO. What are you gonna say?
here's the key thing: is that each one of these actually, these things without the explanation, is like a different
Waveform or something?
It's a different waveform, like in sort of amplitude and so on and so forth. Like you can actually hear it. Like,
Yeah, you can definitely hear differences. I'm just there's no explanation of exactly what the difference is.
Yeah, you hear that low frequency.
Yeah.
So basically, that's kind of like ring
I think it's
modulation.
distortion as well. I think like this is like the distortion part.
Yeah, there's a certain amount of distortion being added by this pedal. Yeah, you can play again. Are you in the tremolo mode right now or the chorus mode? So this is the mode that's not really like a Uni-vibe. The chorus mode is a lot like it, and I believe like the whirly and the ham sound a lot like the Uni-vibe. There we go. So you can get a very similar sound to the Uni-vibe out of this pedal. I think. Let's do that.
I think this is a cool idea and piece in general, but like I definitely wouldn't give it like Uni-vibe qualities. Maybe.
I agree. It's a lot dirtier, of course. But
Yeah, it's dirtier, but I say, you know, some of those the vibrato settings on there sound a lot like a Uni-vibe. Here, I'll turn you up.
All right, so now we've got the Dunlop Uni-vibe on display.
This is basically our theme. As you can hear, it's much cleaner right off the bat.
Pretty.
Is it active right now? I think there you go. And it's in vibrato mode right now. Vibrato mode is a little different for the Uni-vibe.
Oh, here we go.
The Wiggler vibrato mode is is actually a chorus. In this, chorus is the actual rotary sound. This is actually one of my first pedals that I got.
Okay.
Because listening to Jimi Hendrix live at Woodstock, and I decided I needed one of these when I was like in 8th grade. I would just sit downstairs and just groove on it.
Nice.
That's the vibrato sound. I was always
see it?
more of a fan of the chorus mode. Take a look at it. Now, there are videos on our site that go through all these pedals. If you check out the Gearwire Labs, I actually get down and we play through these pedals through an actual amp.
Just play like a chord right quick. Just like. See, that kind of gives you more of a rotating feel.
Definitely more like it, like a rotating sort of feel. But I felt the Wiggler definitely had qualities like it.
No, you're completely correct. Like I concur, good sir. No, like it does have those qualities, but the Wiggler definitely has more of an effect feel than like a great like emulator,
actual acoustical emulator.
Yeah, and the Uni-vibe is also years and years in the making, and older, like kind of like you said, I had to see it. Had to get one when I saw Jimi Hendrix use one. They didn't have one of these around then. At least I don't think so. I don't know. It's my guess, but it's as a unit. It has its own particular feel. I mean, you can hook up an expression pedal to this thing, and yeah, that's a whole nother world of sound. So,
but yeah, it also has this vibrato sound, which is a pitch shifting sort of thing, sort of like you'd get off of a Deluxe Memory Man or something like that, but no delay.
Or if you just drink way, way too much.
That's a lot cheaper too.
Yeah.
Let's check out the RT20.
Yeah, I'm curious to see this thing light up. Look at that. Whoa!
Pretty.
Whoa!
We'll show that to the cameras in just a second.
Hey, output.
Whoa!
Wait, no, we need to go in
The
first.
60s are alive in this pedal. Holy crap.
Okay, this is a stereo one. It has a stereo output. Let me make sure we're hearing this in stereo. All right. So this is basically a rotary effect. It has Leslie settings. There's 4 different types over here.
Yeah, let's see that. Right
The first one is like the first 3, I believe, are the first 2 are Leslie. The third is a Uni-vibe emulator, and I believe the 4th is as well. Now the cool thing about this is it actually gives you control over it like you would have on a Leslie.
Yeah, like
Plus more. You get that extra pedal that changes speed from slow to fast, and it ramps it, and you can change the amount of time it takes.
Yeah, the rise time.
Yeah, if you turn it up, it'll all the way. It'll like basically switch between the fast and slow speed, like pretty much like a switch. And if you turn it down, it'll take a while to get up there.
The cool thing is you get a balance between the horn,
Mm-hmm.
and then we'll just tune up this
Yeah,
slow.
that feature's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because
So you can get more treble, more. So there's the fast setting, and it ramps up.
now turn down the rise time and switch between to go slow. You hit the slow one.
So now it'll very slowly
Yeah.
just get.
So, that's just, I mean, honestly, as far as emulating a rotary speaker processor, this is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's definitely got the right settings,
Yeah. Now here's the 2,
and it has a amp simulator built
Yeah.
in as well.
which sounds like crap.
Yeah,
Sounds like
tube emulation. It sounds like tube emulation.
Yeah, well,
And this is also stereo, so it's a bit more convincing that way.
the whole purpose of this light is to show you how fast the cab would theoretically be spinning with the horn.
It could
and
never
the-
spin that fast.
Yeah.
No way, it trips me out.
So as a rotary effect, I really like this one.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting. It's definitely cooler when you have a stereo sort of thing. Be great for recording. Not into the distortion on it though.
Yeah. Leave that off.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
It also has a switch for you can use this with a keyboard.
Yeah.
So if you want to throw this before your B4 emulator or your B4 patch organ on stage, it'll work like that. You can switch the input impedance to so that it'll receive like stereo keyboard sounds.
Yeah, I mean, this is a really... I mean, I have to say my favorite personally is the Uni-vibe, of course, but, like, as far as an emulated rotary cab, it doesn't sound quite the same, but it's close,
Yeah.
you know?
Well,
All right.
For me, I almost would choose the Wiggler because it adds a nice tone to it, and you get that sort of rotary sound. You can get that sort of rotary sound out of it, but you also get a really nice tremolo as well.
But what I really like about this is actually the... wow, we didn't even utilize the vintage on-off.
Oh yeah, that's basically just. I think it just changes the amplitude of the waveform.
And the expression pedal on these things makes this a whole different dimension and
Yeah.
beast, you know?
Definitely.
So,
Also, we used one of those in the old band I was in quite a bit, the Uni-vibe, and we put it through an effects loop and found out that the sound of it was just incredible. Like, much more so than just putting it in between the chain.
Did you put a distortion before it?
We didn't. Actually, we would play with distortion, so yeah, we did.
Putting a distortion before the Uni-vibe, I think, sounds amazing, and that's what Jimmy did. I think he had a fuzz face or something before it in that performance that inspired me to buy it.
so yeah.
All right.
Yeah, great stuff,
Well, that's
guys.
the Wiggler, the RT20, and the Uni-vibe. And that concludes the Gearwire.com Crosstalk podcast for Friday, August 18th. Thank you guys for joining us. I would like to plug this man right here as one of the premier guitar instruction teachers in Chicago. We should put up a link to your homepage on that.
Absolutely, I
if you're
appreciate
looking for
it.
some lessons, that's the man to talk to in this city. What a guitar player. Yeah. Well, thanks a lot, guys. And that concludes the podcast. Thanks for listening. Check us out at Gearwire.com. We'll see you next week.
Next week I'll be wearing a dress.
Yes. Thanks, Paris.